It was a crisp Saturday evening in the heart of Chicago. The kind of evening where golden light spilled across pavement, laughter echoed from patios, and the scent of rosemary and roasted garlic wafted from the city's top restaurants. Elijah Reynolds, 42, stepped out of his modest white sedan, parked a block away from the glittering facade of Crestfall, a fine dining restaurant known for its exclusivity and ruthless staff hierarchy. Wearing his faded blue delivery jacket, Elijah balanced two large takeout bags as he approached the back entrance. His shoes were worn, his smile quiet, and his presence unassuming. He'd made deliveries here a few times before, each time greeted with indifference, sometimes even irritation. Tonight would be no different, or so they thought. As Elijah entered the bustling kitchen through the service door, chaos reigned. Dishes clattered, flames roared from pans, and Chef Lenny barked orders like a drill sergeant. "Hey!" A young waiter named Darren snapped without looking up. "Drop it near the counter and don't block the line. We're not running a charity here." Elijah nodded gently, setting the bags down. A few cooks snickered, eyeing him with smug superiority. "Man, these delivery drivers think they're part of the team or something," someone muttered loud enough for Elijah to hear. He didn't flinch. No one noticed the way Elijah's eyes scanned the room, not in judgment, but in silent observation. The chipped tiles near the fryer. The dishwasher's busted seal. The way the line cooks scrambled with fear rather than pride. "Yo, you deaf or something?" Darren scoffed, finally turning around. "You dropped the wrong sauce last time, bro. Try not to screw it up today, okay?" Elijah met his eyes. Calm. Measured. "Got it," he said with a small smile. The head chef, Lenny, finally turned toward him. "Hey man, next time come through the alley. You're tracking dirt through the back entrance." "No, thank you." No acknowledgement. Just dismissal. As Elijah exited the kitchen, he passed by a framed photo near the exit. It showed the restaurant's founders shaking hands with the original owner. He paused for a moment, eyes lingering, a flicker of memory flashing behind them. No one knew that Elijah Reynolds wasn't just a delivery driver. He was now the silent majority stakeholder in Crestfall. And come Monday morning, he'd be taking full ownership. 2 days earlier, Elijah sat in a quiet office above a downtown Chicago law firm. His lawyer, a sharp-eyed woman named Marissa, slid over the final paperwork. "It's done," she said. "You now own 68% of Crestfall." Elijah exhaled. "They don't know I'm coming, do they?" "No," Marissa smiled. "You asked for anonymity until the transition. Monday's board meeting will be enlightening." He nodded slowly. "Good. I want to see them as they are, when they think no one's watching." Back to present. Monday came. The staff gathered at 10 a.m. in the main dining hall. Most assumed it was just another team meeting, until unfamiliar suits walked in and silence fell. Chef Lenny, wiping his hands with a dish towel, looked puzzled. "What's this about?" The restaurant's general manager, Brenda, looked equally confused, until a familiar figure walked in through the front door. Elijah. In a charcoal gray suit. No delivery bags. Just calm, steady eyes. Gasps filled the room. Darren's jaw dropped. "You?" he muttered. Elijah stepped forward. "Good morning." He stood behind the podium, placing a thick folder down. "My name is Elijah Reynolds. As of today, I am the majority owner of Crestfall." The room froze. "I've been watching," Elijah continued, his voice firm but not cruel. "Not just your food, but your character. Your treatment of others. How you value, or devalue, the people around you." He turned his eyes toward Darren. Then to Chef Lenny. Then Brenda. "What I saw was talent. But buried under arrogance. Fear. Disrespect. And that's not what this place was founded on. A long pause. You see, my father was the original investor in Crestfall, before it became what it is now. When he passed, I inherited a stake. But I never stepped in. Until now. Whispers. Shock. A few staff members looked down, ashamed. I've been a dishwasher. A cook. A driver. I know this world. I didn't come to fire people, I came to fix what's broken. Then, he opened the folder. Some changes will be made. Promotions will go to those who lift others up. Those who mock, belittle, or abuse, your time here is done. Darren paled. Chef Lenny stepped forward. You're serious? Elijah nodded. Dead serious. Weeks later. Crestfall had changed. Elijah's leadership was quiet but firm. Toxic staff were replaced with people who cared, not just about plating food, but about serving with dignity. Wages were raised. The kitchen was repaired. And slowly, customers noticed something deeper than the food, a soul had returned to the place. Darren, humbled, now worked at a smaller cafe across town. He wrote Elijah a letter months later, thanking him. As for Elijah, he didn't crave praise. He still walked to work. Still wore that faded blue jacket from time to time. Because for him, success wasn't in being seen, it was in seeing others. Elijah sits alone at a corner table in Crestfall as the dinner rush begins. A young hostess walks over. Mr. Reynolds, would you like your usual table? He smiles gently. Please. And bring out 2 extra plates. She blinks. Expecting company? He nods toward the kitchen window, where 2 line cooks argue playfully, bonded by respect now. Yes, he says. Family. Rebirth of Crestfall. The camera pans over Crestfall's polished new sign, sunlight gleaming against its brass finish. Inside, things feel different. Laughter has returned, not forced or managerial, but real, organic. The sound of plates clinking is no longer accompanied by shouting, but by collaboration. Elijah walks through the kitchen, not as a tyrant, not as a ghost investor, but as a leader who remembers what it's like to scrub burnt pots and take insults on the chin. He stops by Maya, a quiet sous chef who used to flinch every time Lenny raised his voice. You changed something in the risotto, Elijah says, tasting a spoonful. She tenses. I'm sorry. I thought the lemon zest might cut the richness. He smiles. It's brilliant. Keep trusting your instincts. Her eyes soften. No one had ever validated her creativity like that before. Across the kitchen, Andre, once the most overlooked dishwasher, now runs the prep team. Elijah had promoted him after seeing how he calmed chaos during a Friday rush. Sometimes leadership doesn't shout. It steadies. In a staff meeting later that day, Elijah writes 1 sentence on the board. Everyone has a story. Learn it before you judge them. He pauses. Looks at each face. You judged me by my jacket. My job title. My silence. But that's okay, because it gave me a front row seat to who you really are. Some of you made me proud. Others, made me worry. But all of you have the chance to start again, if you want it. A moment of stillness. Then, hesitant applause. Then louder. Darren's apology. Weeks later, on a gray afternoon, Elijah gets a letter delivered to the restaurant. It's handwritten, clumsy in places. From Darren. Mr. Reynolds. I used to think the world was about climbing ladders. Step on who you have to, impress the right people, and never look down. But the day you walked in wearing that suit, I realized I'd been looking at the wrong things all along. I was cruel. Arrogant. And I mocked a man who turned out to be everything I wasn't brave enough to become. Thank you for showing me humility, not with anger, but with grace. I'm trying to do better. I hope one day I'll get the chance to prove it. Darren. Elijah folds the letter quietly, eyes lingering on the words. He doesn't smile. He doesn't frown. He just nods, like a man who's seen the long road of change, and knows the first step is always the hardest. The dinner service that changed everything. It's a Saturday night. The restaurant is packed. A food critic, notorious for dismantling new owners, sits anonymously near the kitchen. But Elijah isn't nervous. He's seated at a booth, watching from a distance as the team works like a family. Orders flow. Dishes shine. Laughter spills from the line. Suddenly, Maya's voice echoes out. Fire table 4. Duck confit, 2 scallops. And in perfect harmony, it all comes together. The critic, impressed, leaves behind a napkin with only one word scribbled in bold ink. Transformed. Full circle. Late at night, Elijah stands outside the restaurant, looking up at the stars. A young delivery driver walks up, tired, clearly new. Hey, the kid says, is this where I drop the Thai order? Elijah smiles. Yup, right through the back. Here, I'll walk with you. The kid blinks. Wait, aren't you? I'm Elijah, he says, helping him with the bags. Just another guy who believes in second chances. They mocked him because they thought he had nothing to offer. But Elijah had what they all lacked: vision, humility, and a memory of where he came from. In a world that worships power, he chose purpose. And that choice changed everything. Elijah's past unveiled. The restaurant is closed. Lights dimmed. Elijah sits alone in the office, flipping through an old, worn photo album. The pages are yellowing, the corners curled with time. A photo of a young boy smiling in front of a food truck, Reynolds Soul Kitchen, written in bold red across the side. His father stands behind him, tall and proud, arms crossed with a spatula in hand. Elijah traces the photo with his thumb. Flashback. Young Elijah, maybe 12, is cooking with his father in a food truck parked in a crowded community fair in Memphis. Music plays in the background, people line up, and laughter fills the air. His father leans over. Son, people don't just come for the food. They come to feel like they matter. Cut back to the present. Elijah closes the album gently. Outside the office, Andre peeks in. Boss, we've got a visitor. Scene, a surprising visit. Standing in the restaurant lobby is Elijah Reynolds, Elijah's estranged sister. Stylish, poised, but her eyes carry years of silence. I saw the article in the paper, she says. Didn't expect to see our family name in lights again. There's a pause. I kept the truck, Elijah says quietly. Didn't run it for years. But I couldn't let go. Gloria softens. He'd be proud, you know. They sit. Talk about their father. The struggles. The fallout after he passed. How they went different directions. Elijah into quiet perseverance, Gloria into corporate chaos. Maybe it's time we built something together, she says. Elijah raises an eyebrow. You cook now? She laughs. No. But I remember how to serve. They shake on it. Crestfall Community Nights. 3 months later, Crestfall isn't just a restaurant, it's a community hub. Once a month, they host open table nights. The dining room transforms. The rich sit beside the poor. Executives beside janitors. Food is free, covered by donations and Crestfall's profits. Stories are exchanged with every plate served. Local musicians play. Children color on placemats. No one wears a name tag, yet everyone knows each other's name. Maya now runs the Youth Chef Mentorship program. Teenagers from rough neighborhoods are invited to learn culinary skills, shadow chefs, and build confidence. Andre heads the operations. Clean, efficient, and full of pride. He walks taller now. Smiles more. Even Darren returns. This time as a volunteer waiter during open table night. He's humble, focused. One of the teens accidentally spills soup on his shirt, and he just laughs it off. Growth, at last. The return to the truck. On the 1-year anniversary of Crestfall's rebirth, Elijah pulls back a garage door. Inside, gleaming and freshly painted, is the old food truck. Reynolds' Soul Kitchen. He climbs in, starts the engine. Gloria hops in beside him. One last ride? He nods. They drive through the city, pulling up to a park. Set up shop. No fanfare. Just soul food and sunshine. People line up. An elderly man squints at Elijah. Didn't you used to deliver my food? Now you own half the street. Elijah grins. Still delivering, sir. Just with a bit more seasoning. Full circle. The camera rises above the park, the truck, and the glowing lights of Crestfall in the distance. In a world that judged him by his uniform, his silence, and his skin, Elijah rewrote the script. He didn't rise by stepping over others, he rose by lifting them. And in doing so, he reminded us all that greatness isn't in how loud you are, it's in how deeply you care. Fade to black. Thread of time.